Welcome to Element Pods, where we start the conversation of how God is moving in your life.
It is such a privilege to have you with us today. Parker and Josh here. We are starting a few podcasts here on relationships. One of the most complicated aspects of being a human is relationships. Right. We're the most relational part of humanity, of creation, actually, not just humanity, most relational part of creation that exists, the complexities. What would you say is the one big issue with relationships?
Sure. Well, first of all, friendships should be like one of the top priorities of your life. Like, I always say it is so good to be known. If nobody really knows who you are, knows the real you, it's like you have this really deep isolation that just hurts and pushes you farther into even sadness and grief. But like, a lot of us have some shallow friends. A lot of us have a few close friends that maybe we grew up with or knew us when we were younger, but then we have this huge outer ring of just acquaintances. And so to be able to get wise with, okay, I probably have the capacity to really know 12, and then to like really, really know maybe 3 people, and that's or 2 others. And that's kind of the model that even Jesus took in his relationships. But I think one of the biggest struggles that we have in being a good friend to people, because this episode I want to talk about how we are a good friend, not how we should judge people's friendship towards us.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, because that's part of the problem you're getting ready to lean into, right?
Right. Is that we are selfish in our friendships, that we think that those friendships exist to serve us, to make us feel good, to give us some sort of gain. And you don't see that anywhere in Jesus's interactions and example for humanity in good, healthy relationships. And so the first thing that I want to push you towards as a friend, I want you to think of the friend that you've maybe been butting heads with lately, or the friend that, man, I just really wish that I could help them more, or the friend that you wish, man, I wish that they would come hang out with me more, or notice me more. Here's what I would say to you. Lead with love. We talked in the church episode, what church is for, that nothing should come out of the position of hate, but it should come out of love. And so Jesus said that greater love has no man than this, that he would lay his life down for his friends. And then he called us his friends. And then he laid his life down for us.
That's a pretty decent example, I think.
And he saved us from death. And so when you think about your earthly relationships and these friends that you have, serve them, love them, show them compassion, ask them what they want to do. Ask them what they want to watch on TV. Ask them what they want to eat for dinner.
Let them control Netflix.
And they will feel so loved that relationship will be better. Yeah. Like if you can humble your heart to put the other person first, not only does that set you up for like good friendships in life, but I think that's also like a good starting point to realize what marriage is later in life.
I agree. I mean? And that can be kind of awkward to say that. Yeah. But like at the core of any fantastic marriage is a fantastic friendship.
Yeah, right. And in a heart of humility. Yeah. That's putting the other person first.
Mutual serving.
And so when we look at our friendships and stuff like that, I really would push you and challenge you to lean into how you are loving your friends, not how they are loving you. Don't just get judgy on what they're doing to you. Go love them like Jesus loved them.
So sometimes I think, Parker, the concept of what that love looks like means that it's always nice, but there's also moments in relationships where you have to have a hard discussion.
Totally. If anybody who has ever been around any humans on this planet knows that there's conflict. Yeah. And even great friends have conflict. And eventually you are going to have a hard conversation, whether you misunderstood a text or a text never sent, or you just left it on read receipt and you never snapped back or whatever it was. You'll have these awkward moments, or honestly, you were having a bad day and you were completely just sassafras to your friends, and like you hurt them. Yeah. So you're going to have these hard conversations, especially to be a good friend.
So what's the best way to prepare my heart to approach that?
That's a great question. And I've had to learn this the hard way. And this is something that I'm constantly trying to do in my friendships, but also in my marriage. But Jesus instructs us. He says this in Matthew 7. He says, and worry about a speck in your friend's eye when you have a log in your own. He's saying, like, don't come at your friend judging them and telling them everything they did wrong. You better check out your own problems first. And you got to check that first. He goes on to say, how can you think of saying to your friend, let me help you get rid of that speck in your own eye when you can't see past the log, this huge tree that's in your own eye?
Yeah.
You hypocrite. He's calling us a hypocrite if we do that. First, get rid of the log in your eye, and then maybe you can help them deal with the speck in theirs.
Maybe.
Right. So what that means for us is, let's say I sent you a nasty text and you stopped talking to me today. I would have to, before I went, you're being a jerk, you stopped talking to me, I would have to look at the log, the huge piece of trash in my eye that is my pride and the way that I treated you. And I would have to reflect on that and go, wow, I was a jerk. And I get that, what Jesus is calling a log out of our eye, so that I can approach you and say, hey, I hurt you, and I know there's like something there that we need to talk about, right? But once again, I'm approaching in love, and I've already dealt with the log in my eye. So now maybe I can help you with that, or whatever's coming from your end. So that's how I would challenge you to move towards your friends in tough conversations, is make sure you check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, nice.
So here's my challenge for you, to think of your closest friend and think of one way that you can serve them this week out of love, out of just putting them first and letting them, have the decision of where to eat, or asking them how their day was before you wait and ask, or for them to ask you or whatever. But and then talk to your coach. Talk to your coach about the friendships they have in their lives and why the good ones are great, and why the bad ones are bad. And
they'll have some life experience to pull from.
Right. And wisdom is learning from other people's experiences, so you don't have to do the same thing that they did, like the same failure, right? Yeah. So anyways, if you have more questions, contact your coach, shoot him a text, say, hey, I'm having some troubles in this friendship. How can I get this log out of my eye before I go and approach them in love?
Thanks for tuning in to Element Pods. Make sure you subscribe to this feed for future conversations about God at work in your life.